Hey everyone, welcome to another match of Simic Typhoon Control. Today we are playing Bant Euro, or Bant Euro Piles, whatever. Just Euro plus Bant. Gonna be interesting. Our opening hand is pretty good. I mean, we have a turn to Storming Entity, and we draw Noble Hierarch, which is awesome. Definitely gonna open up Noble Hierarch. I could have, in theory, kept Mishra's Bauble for turn 3 and pump up our Stormwing, but that's just didn't seem necessary. Alright, so we got a wall to deal with here. Wall of Blossoms. That's going to be interesting. I don't usually see that in Bant decks, and in Euro decks, I mean, but alright. So we cast our Stormwing Entity. We're going to scry. So I don't think we need another Noble Hierarch there, but a Stubborn Gnaw would be nice. But it looks like I decide to keep both. Now I'm keeping the Serum Visions for next turn. That's my thought. That's my thinking anyway. So we're gonna cast our Serum Visions, not do our Serum Visions. Metamorphose is actually pretty good. At this point, I would most likely cast the second Noble Hierarch. I don't, oddly enough. So I was probably thinking maybe I don't cast Noble Hierarch this turn, which is interesting. So Path to Exile comes down, and we're going to Stubborn Denial it, and it's going to resolve. Well, Path isn't, but our Stubborn Denial is. And we play Tarmogoyf. Alright, so I'm playing it conservative here, I guess you would say. Not going all out. This is a pretty good board state, though, so let's see what our opponent does here. So we draw Metamorphose, play our second Noble Hierarch, play our Metamorphose, and now we are starting to deal some serious damage, assuming everything resolves. So, using that mana, cast Euro, draw another land, beautiful. And now we're coming down for a lot of damage, so Path to Exile hits our Tarmogoyf, unfortunately. We're still hitting them for 4. Jace Mind Sculptor comes down. I think this is going to be too little too late in my opinion. They do bounce our Storming Entity back though, which sucks. So the only real thing I could do, I mean, here I'm doing some math. I'm like, maybe I could cast Shark Typhoon before I cast anything else. You can see I'm counting like an idiot. I decide not to do that play. Because realistically, I'm going to cast Shark Typhoon and then what? Get a Serum Visions that gives me a 1-1. Not necessarily the strongest play given the current board state and where we are in the game. So I keep those 2 cards on top, which was Mystic Sanctuary and Storming. Euro draws us our Mystic Sanctuary, and what do we want to get? I choose Stubborn now, which I think makes sense. So unfortunately, they're going to bring our Storming Entity back again. End of turn, we're going to cycle Shark Typhoon for 1. And here at least we get to kill their Jace, because I'm just sick and tired of Jace. And our opponent gives up anyway, because Euro, yeah. So, we're playing a Euro deck. Veil of Summer makes sense here, obviously. Our opponent is not necessarily creature heavy, so I'm gambling by taking Vapor Snag out of there. I didn't see Euro yet on my opponent's side, so I wasn't sure. Either way, even if I did, there was just not enough It wouldn't be enough to justify your playing Vapor Snag. All right, so we're mulliganing down to 5. And this is as good as it's going to get for game 2. So we're going to start off with a very familiar play, Noble Hierarch. We're going to end our turn. Draw another Noble Hierarch, which is meh. But we'll be able to play our Euro this turn, maybe. Yes, it resolves. Draw Mishra's Bauble off of it. We're going to play our Noble Hierarch. Obviously, we're going to target our opponent at this point and see what they're about to draw. All right. So, Growth Spiral. So once I saw that, I'm like, oh, we're playing Euro. Took a bit of time to figure it out. Still having a sluggish start here, though. So I do have Force of Negation, and at this point I'm going to be forced to use it to take out Teferi. And unfortunately that means take out Storming Entity, and our opponent Veil summers me. Ah, brutal. Brutal. That's going to hurt. So we're about to play the Let's Whittle Teferi Down game. Unfortunately, my Xmage didn't want to show Teferi's art for some reason. I fixed it after the matches, but you're going to have to deal with a broken Teferi here. So we draw land, which is perfect. We were actually very short on mana. So having the ability to draw land here makes sense. You know, so we can cast all the remaining spells in our hand. We are going to... I mean, that was a joke. Obviously, by the way, I'm being ridiculously sarcastic. So we're going to whittle Teferi down now for the next 6 trillion turns. While our opponent finds something to cast and while we find something to cast. So yeah, that's going to be fun. So Teferi's going to +1 again, of course. To do his -1 at this point seems, you know, it doesn't make a difference. We're just going to keep casting Noble Hierarch. Alright, Storming Entity, which we could, in theory, hardcast. But first we're going to attack. So we got the double Exalted trigger. And it's taking forever. Alright. So we could cast Storming Entity, and we're going to try. And we get Cryptic Command. Alright. Well, that's great. So I guess we're just going to keep playing the Let's Whittle Down Teferi game. And our opponent's going to keep looking for answers. So, you know, this is the type of high, you know, fast-paced quality Magic matches that I try and bring to you folks. And, I mean, if you're even watching, you know, this many minutes into the match, I apologize. I apologize for this horrible, horrible fate that I've set you on. Our opponent plays a little Triumph. That's gonna do nothing else. I'm so shocked. $50 says he has another Cryptic Command in his hand. Oh, land. Perfect. Perfect. It's what I needed. That's the type of gas we need, guys. Everyone take note. If you want to be able to play at a pro level, you need this much land on the battlefield. Seems ridiculous. You know, I wonder, I could have just attacked our opponent for 2 damage every turn. He would have been at, like, what, 12 life at this point? That would have actually been pretty decent, as opposed to just attacking that stupid Teferi. Man. Maybe I missed it. Maybe that was the line I should have been taking this whole time. Just whittled them down. But no, realistically, we gotta get rid of Teferi. It's, you know, gonna make all our counter spells moot and all our instants moot in general. It's not what you want. Alright, so now Euro comes down, and I mean, at this point, I would probably just concede. Well, I mean, they're not escaping it yet, but they're gonna escape it soon. So if we don't find some sort of answer, it's gonna be game over. Alright, well, there's also that land. Let's see what, oh. Why didn't I concede? Why have I not conceded yet? I mean, I do have Euro, but I mean, I need one more card in the graveyard to be able to cast it. Yeah, concede. Oh, thank God. I'm so happy I conceded. Alright, so now that we know we're playing Euro, yeah, Surgical Extraction and Vapor Snack come back in. What do we take out? Yeah, one Vapor Snack. Surgical Extraction is basically going to be what we want. This opening hand is just bad. Got no threats. And don't necessarily want to play the control game early on. Again, horrible here. And, you know, this has happened to me too many times where I have Noble Hierarch and an island, which means I can't play Noble Hierarch. And now I'm being forced down to 5. And that's just horrible. Just a horrible feeling. Especially after that game too. It's not really what I wanted to see here. I mean, I'm not playing that many basic islands, but I guess it's just enough. So, we do get a break here by drawing Stormring Entities, so that's great. If it does stick, it's great. Yeah, we still want that. Draw Manamorphose next turn. Pump up our Stormwing and then live the dream. Let's see if that actually happens, though. Let's see if it actually happens. Alright, so our opponent has 2 mana up, and they're playing control. What do you think? Oh, mana leak. Shocker. Alright. Well, we're not playing 3. We can at least do Serum Visions. I mean, you saw that. They were ready to cast that mana leak. Not sure why I didn't play Serum Visions there. Could have gotten some extra damage in. Probably rush that a bit. Almost certainly rushed it. Yeah. Seems a little stupid now, but it's okay. It's just 1 point. Alright, 2 lands. I don't really want to see 2 lands, but I kept the island on top. I kept the island on top because I want to be able to cast Tarmogoyf and have Mana Leak mana open. So here comes Euro. It's okay. It's only part 1, not part 2. So it's going to resolve. It's going to do its thing. They're going to gain 3 life. but that's okay. This turn, we get to cast our 4/5 Tarmo. Well, of course, first we're going to attack in. Cool, we get in. And hopefully we stave off any major spells on our opponent's next turn. Of course, we won't be able to stop a Path to Exile, but anything that's going to cost 2 or more mana, 3 or more mana, no, we're good. So Growth Spiral is definitely going to work. Can't do much there. If they decide to cast Euro this turn, which they can't, interestingly enough, they don't have the right mana here. We could mana leak it either way, but it's not going to happen this turn. So we're going to cast another Euro. Here I'm thinking, do I mana leak it? Because if I mana leak it, next turn we could potentially kill them out of nowhere. Really depends what we draw. So I think this is probably the right time. Oh boy, my voice cracked. I'm sorry. But an adult and I'm still having a cracked voice. Sorry, that threw me off. So I mean, okay, so Metamorphose is one way to do it, as long as they don't have a response here. So we cast Metamorphose, we pump up our Storming Entity to 4. Now we're coming in for 8. So we need to find a way to deal 3 more damage. So let's see if we find it. Okay, well, no, that's not going to do it. But what we can do is cast Shark Typhoon and get a second body onto the battlefield. Sorry, a 4th body, technically. A 2/2 Shark. And we will cycle through at the same time, draw a card, and see what we get. We get another Shark Typhoon. Not bad. So we're coming in for 9 damage. We're going to bring our opponent down to 2. So even if our opponent casts Euro this turn, considering that we have our 4/4, our 3/3 flyer, and our 2/2 flyer, not going to be enough. And I think that's what's going to seal the game for us. But let's see. I don't think it's enough. Alright, so they passed the turn, which is scary. My guess is they have Cryptic Command. Yep. Alright, so they're going to fog us. I'm probably going to cycle Shark Typhoon here in response. Yeah. Makes sense. Get another body on the battlefield, draw another card. Noble Hierarch is actually pretty good, but not that good, actually. So we get fogged. Our opponent's going to have another chance to do whatever they need to do. Stabilize some way. I'm assuming they're digging for removal. That's my best guess. But if they don't get it, okay, well, they're passing again. My guess is they have another Cryptic Command. So this is going to be annoying. Draw land. What I should have done here is maybe cast Storming Entity first and see if I could elicit a counter tap as opposed to a counter draw. I would almost prefer that at this point, because at least they're not drawing a card. So all our creatures get tapped again. Again, I'm trying to figure out what our opponent is searching for. Again, I'm assuming it's a Path to Exile to get rid of potentially Storming Entity. So I didn't cast Noble Hierarch, but okay, whatever. I probably got too excited there. And yeah, our opponent didn't get it, so we won. Alright, so the kind of control deck beat the really control deck. In this case, our Simic Typhoon control beat Bant Euro, or Bant Euro Piles. So I hope that match was interesting to you. I think Game 1 and Game 3 were definitely more interesting than Game 2, of course, because Game 2 I lost. But the games where I was winning were great, and I think we fared pretty well against a deck that packs a lot of, you know, removal and a lot of permission. And yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed that match. If you enjoyed the video in general, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow me on Twitter. All those simple clicks actually go a really long way in supporting the channel. And of course, thank you to all my patrons. Thank you for your support. Have a good one.